What is good? Osiris here. Beautiful morning, beautiful Monday morning where I am. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. We're going to kick the week off proper. I've got a Spice 30. We're going to talk about the UFC. Well, not really the UFC. I'm not a UFC fan, so I can't really talk about the details of the UFC. But I will say I like their energy. Our country is obviously split apart. We live in two distinct countries as it is right now before we even get into any proposals of a national divorce or not. One country obviously doesn't know what a man or a woman is. They can't define it. Matt Walsh made a pretty successful documentary just asking that question. We had about, I forgot how long, about 90 minutes of Matt Walsh asking people what a woman is. And the two countries that we're in are divided where one can find out and knows the answer, the other does not. We obviously have one country that believes in God, and the other country doesn't believe in God so much. We have one country that believes in the rule of law and the Constitution and still tries to adhere to those old standards that the country was founded on. And then there's the other country that doesn't. There's one country, the capital of that country. I don't know what the capital of USA 1 is. The capital of USA 2 is New York, New York. And Washington, D.C. is like the baby capital. But New York, New York, they celebrated the natives there. Either they didn't care or they celebrated a president unlawfully being charged or the indictment arraigned and almost imprisoned, because typically you would be in a holding cell. They want to imprison unlawfully a former president and someone running for president right now, and they celebrate that. Thank God for Florida. What would we do without Florida? After all that, Florida, the gentleman that they want to, in USA 2, want to imprison and lock up, probably want to put him on Old Sparky. In Florida, they got a different view. We're in two distinct different worlds. We're like in two different universes. Here's Florida. As the former president and #1 candidate for the GOP, MAGA, walks in shaking the hands of, I believe that's Mike Tyson there. He gets applauded. What would we do without Florida right now? There are people who posted videos this weekend at the UFC event, and the pictures and the videos came flooding in. It was great to see. And this, even if you don't like Trump, man, I like to see people rallying. What rallies people around each other like this? Not much nowadays. It's Donald Trump walking down and people cheering. I think he's walking. Is that Kid Rock? I think he's walking out to Kid Rock with Kid Rock out there. You bet Secret Service hates doing those type of events. He's at the bottom of the arena of thousands of people at this, big arena, and the crowd's chanting USA, USA. Unbelievable video here. USA chants to Donald Trump, the same person that they would want to put away in USA too. They'd want to lock him up. They call him a criminal. Not really arguing either side too much on this video. You just see the difference. There's a cultural divide, I would say, that's to put it mildly. Here's the country that I want to live in. Here's the energy that they have. I don't know what country.
I'm a huge fan.
Man, the UFC fighters are so based, and they have no fear, very courageous. So I think I watched believe it or not, I watched the Great British Bake Off. And there's a judge on there. They bake stuff and they taste it. You know, one of those food tasting shows, if you've never seen it, is Paul Hollywood. And if they bake something really nice, he gives them a handshake. And it's, you know, just a little handshake, but he only does it every once in a while to give you that prop, that respect. Joe, this was one of the moments to let him have the mic, and I wanted to see you pan off camera and let him have his moment. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to pretend like Joe gave him the mic. So that's just a great moment. More video came out. Mel Gibson looks like he was in attendance. This was UFC 264. And right, it's hard to see it. It's hard to see Mel. I think it is Mel Gibson. Somebody took a freeze frame of it and it looked like he was giving the president a salute. This is Mel Gibson right here is what it looks like to me, giving the president a salute. Surreal moments there. He was out there with Mike Tyson, Kid Rock, Dana White, and then just a few thousand close friends. Epic picture, man. How much money could they make if they did a podcast together? Dana White, Donald Trump, Kid Rock, and Mike Tyson. Somebody said that this is the new A-Team. Grim Jim 666 says Florida is like the last bastion where real American values are still celebrated. You know what I liked about that dude? I apologize if I mess up his name. I'm not good with names, and I don't know the UFC fighters. I believe it's Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal. I think he's a good fighter, so I want to be respectful. I don't know that sport. But what I like about what he said, though, if you notice, he gave props to Trump and DeSantis, which I really like. He was like, oh, there's my greatest president of my lifetime. Let's go, Brandon. And he said something to the effect of greatest governor out there or something like that. Great stuff, man. These people in the UFC, not only can they fight, the reason why I don't like UFC, it's a little too graphic, man. It's like one step away from like Gladiators where it's like finish him, thumbs up or thumbs down. It's like that close. But so it's a little much for me. It's a little intense. I'm more of a boxing guy. But they not only can they do that with the kicks and the punches and the holds and the grapples, they got better political takes than MSNBC, CBS, ABC. Just in 2 seconds, he had a better political take than you see half these pundits out here with. Richard says, I wonder why people think it's a cult. And that's fine. I don't agree with that, but why would I need to argue with you on that? So Richard, why don't we break up? You think this is a cult? So Richard, you think that is a cult? Well, I think we have proof of cult-like behavior that's beyond. So I think you have the right to that opinion. But I'm going to show you what a true cultist sounds like. Here's anti-friend of show, a Brooklyn dad embarrassing himself through the pandemic. This is what a cult sounds like, Richard.
It's much better than a ventilator, 'cause breathing is a pretty good habit. That COVID is dangerous. Go get your vaccine now. You know Eric and Junior, Ivanka and Jared, Kaylee and Rudy, Melania, Bannon. I'm screaming at a white supremacist like the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys. Jen Psaki, spanking Ducey, Saki. It's much better than a ventilator, 'cause breathing is a pretty good habit.
So if you think MAG is a cult, I think that's a solid take to have, even though I don't agree. But if you think MAG is a cult and you don't think that's a cult, then you've got some problems going on. If you think they're both cults, then I think you're based. That's pretty much the libertarian take on it. You can have that take. But if you say one's a cult, but then you say the other's not, this nigga's out here singing Christmas songs about the vaccine. just behavior that's not normal. Now, I know he gets paid to do it, but I don't see Democrats really going after that dude. Toy Mafia says Super Soy. That's his new nickname. That's Brooklyn Dad's new nickname, Super Soy. It's just not good. It's a joke, kinda. It's a joke about forcing people to take a poison and allegedly, hypothetically, I'm not talking about anything that happened in real life. I'm talking about a fantasy world. In a fantasy world, pretend, make believe, forcing people to take a poison in their shoulder to keep their jobs. It's what kind of joke is it? Is it like a ha-ha joke, or is it like what type of joke is it? I'm dreaming of a poison.
It's much better than a ventilator, cause breathing is a pretty good habit. That COVID is dangerous. Go get your vaccine now. You know,
Hey, there's nothing funnier than singing about hospitals allegedly unliving people to get a few $1,000s per person. There's nothing funnier than that. That's not a cult at all. MAGA, that's a cult. Talking about all love, regardless of skin color or beliefs or whatever. Like, we rally around the dude, whether you think Trump is a fake or not. No, that's a cult. This dude right here, this is intellectual. This is funny.
I'm screaming at a
White supremacist.
like the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys.
I know. Richard says it's a joke. I guarantee you, he would not afford, Richard, you would not afford me the same kindness if I were up here singing some dumbass song about Donald Trump or something like that. Good morning, everybody. It matters. Why does the UFC stuff matter? It matters because Donald Trump is the people's champ. It doesn't matter if I say I'm going to vote for him or not. It doesn't matter if you say you're going to vote for him or not. It doesn't matter if you try to lock him up or not. He is the people's champ, and you can't undo that. The WWE used to have this people's champ. They used to, well, I don't watch them now, but they used to have this thing called the People's Champ. And, you know, I remember when The Rock was the People's Champ. That was the real champ of it. I didn't, half the time, I didn't even know who had the real belt. The Rock stole the show. So you can go after him in New York. There's an article I can bring up here about Georgia. And it's time to stop acknowledging these courts. Is he going to turn himself into Georgia too? Okay. You can go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and do this. They banned them from social media, put them up on Truth, and every single day, nothing. The headline story is how bad Trump is every single day. You got nothing but Richards on TV every single day telling you why Donald Trump is this or that. He walks in to an arena in Florida. After all this, everything is against him. Every person is against him. Everyone is against him. He walks into an arena in Florida, and what you hear is nothing but cheers and love. That's what you hear. And that's what they hate. That's why they called you deplorables. That's why Hillary called everyone deplorables, because she can't do this. That's why they hate you. That's why they hate you. You can't, there are certain things, they have money, they have power, they have influence, they've got everything that you would want. And how did they get them? They took it from middle class mostly. They said middle class, your value, your 401ks, your house in 2008 with Obama, come here, and transferred that money to rich and famous people. Your future, your livelihood, come here, get over here, and then called you deplorables, and then they look at you like, why are you still cheering for that dude Trump? And they can't stop it. That's why they're going after him. That's why they're throwing everything against the wall to see what will stick. What can we do? Our money can't buy ruining this dude. And the message I have for Hillary C., for Billy G., for Richard, for everybody, anybody who, even if you're neutral on Trump, you don't understand what's going on, there is nothing that will stop that relationship. Nothing other than Trump himself. It is a relationship between Trump and the people. You saw East Palestine, when he went out there, how he was joking with the people. The people love him. Why do you think Kamala goes out to Nashville and doesn't really, I didn't see the whole trip, but to my knowledge, didn't acknowledge the tragedy that happened? Because she would have to look people in their face that look at her and say, I don't like what you're about. And the money can't fix that. Money can't change that. It's very powerful. So you keep going after Trump. Good luck with that. I wish you all the best in luck with that. But good moments, man. The UFC. I mean, there's so many clips I can play from the UFC fighters just coming out 100% courage, no fear, on different topics. This is, I think I played, I don't know if I played this or not, but this is what I view. I did play this, I believe, last live. That's how Florida views Donald Trump. And this is probably how many of the people in that UFC arena view Brandon. It's Brendan now. It's not Brandon anymore.
American Rescue Plan to bring our economy back and so much more. But the extreme MAGA Republicans want to take it all back. You know, they're talking about cutting Social Security, Medicare.
Let's go, Brenda.
The American Rescue Plan to bring our economy back and so much more. But the extreme MAGA Republicans want to take it all back. You know, they're talking about cutting Social Security.
So that's the divide. UFC's cheering, calling Donald Trump the best president of your lifetime, and the whole crowd's cheering, and that's the other guy. So we're in a different place, Richard. Let's figure out how to kind of go to the other sides of the room peacefully, because there's no overcoming. That's a pretty big divide. You're not overcoming that divide. There's no, oh, well, let's make up. There's no making up that divide. I don't even want to. Why would I even want to make up the divide? Absolutely no reason for me to say, oh, let's kind of, anybody who's open-minded, absolutely I want to work with. But if you view Trump as somebody who needs to be in jail, I'm not trying to waste my time I don't want to change your mind or anything. And I will also say, if Trump wants to show up for arraignment in Georgia, then he's a dumbass. I will say that too. I obviously have no beef with Trump. This is not the energy I want to see. New York Times says another criminal investigation of Donald Trump for the 2020 process. They're trying to investigate. Who are they? We had a lot of questions about 2020. A lot of people had questions. And YouTube, I'm not asking because you have all the answers, I'm sure, YouTube. A lot of questions about 2020, a lot of doubt, a lot of uncertainty in the air still, and we've never resolved it. There was a lawsuit out there that the Supreme Court so courageously decided not to take. Who are they looking to criminally investigate for the process that many people had questions about in 2020, which was perfect? There's nothing wrong with the process. Who are they going to investigate with this? Donald Trump. The investigation's nearing completion. I guess there wasn't enough on the phone call, so they are going after something else. There are numerous signs that the prosecutor may go big, with an indictment charging not only Trump, but perhaps a dozen or more of his allies. The only reason they're not indicting you, me, and everybody in the chat is that logistically they couldn't make it work out. They would love to go around the country in vans, rounding up not people who are here illegally, not people who are breaking the law, breaking windows out of cars in San Francisco like it's no big deal, and other violent, heinous crimes. Young people being unlived daily in every urban area in this country. by 2A, illegally acquired weapons, for the most part. No, they would love to go to that UFC arena, round everybody up. You know they would, and say, hey, you're saying, let's go, Brandon, you're a part of 2020 interference. They're criminally investigating who for 2020 interference? Trump. They're investigating Trump. After all the stuff, all the evidence, all the questions that are unanswered by the domino voting. The start of it all for me is the domino voting machine. But what about the laptop story that got, of course, suppressed in what is obvious, blatant process interference? They have a Time article celebrating the interference, allegedly, of fortifying 2020. Of course, it was perfect. There's nothing wrong. And Brandon is the president. Joe Biden is your president. He's on the throne, isn't he? But who are they going to investigate criminally? Grandpappy Don. And I said, if Donald Trump shows up for this arraignment in Georgia, he's just a fool. He's just a damn fool. Why would you show up for this arraignment? I would go back to that UFC arena and say, we're starting USA 1. That's what I would do. Hey, what do you think he would get? Nothing but thunderous applause. Is Donald Trump going to take his bitch ass to Georgia for arraignment on these fake, bogus, embarrassingly bad charges? Why? Why would you do that? We all know Trump would be convicted in Manhattan. We all know Trump would be convicted of anything in Fulton County. We all know Trump would be convicted of anything in D.C. It doesn't matter if he did anything or not. We know he'd be convicted. You know, the funny thing is, the same people cheering in that UFC event, if they were on a jury with Trump and Trump actually did something wrong, they probably would convict. They use your morals against you. And it's time to use your morals and your belief in God and what's good and what's right and what's moral and what's immoral. It's time to use that as something to rally around and to protect. Enough. The Constitution, laws are not above that. They're using your kindness as weakness. And enough is enough. Trump is playing along, in my opinion, because he thinks New York, going through the court process, will take months. He doesn't have to show up there. I don't know when I don't think he would have to show up until sentencing, which he would be sentenced to something. You think they're doing all this for nothing? If it goes through that part, if it doesn't get dismissed, I don't think it's getting dismissed. So Trump's playing along because it would take months. Then after that, you could still appeal. But I think it's time to stop playing. When you look at the other side, they don't do that. They don't do that at all. When it comes to an issue that they care about and the courts are on the opposite side of them, they say, we do anything. They say, you know what? We don't like what a Supreme Court justice did. We try to impeach him. Now, there's no serious momentum for this, but this is where their energy's at. I'm going to need you to match that same energy. If you are not on their side, you've got to match their energy with your own energy. Peacefully, of course. AOC wants Clarence Thomas impeached. They go balls to the wall. I think it's time to return that same energy. It's the House's responsibility to pursue that investigation in the form of impeachment, she told CNN. Now, of course, they don't have the votes to do it. They don't have the momentum to do it. So what? They say it with their chest and say it proudly. And I go online and I say, maybe, I don't know, maybe you should have Trump stay in Florida, stay in that arena with a couple thousand people cheering behind him and say, we'll challenge it in the courts. Maybe we should do that, and I'm the radical. They come out and say, you should be impeached. They don't have the votes. They don't have the evidence. They don't hold all the justices to the same accord. You think Clarence Thomas is the only justice that's been on a private yacht? Are you crazy? You think Clarence Thomas is the only justice that's been palling around with rich people? What are the other justices doing? You think they're giving soup to the poor? But no, they take the law. The reason why they can bastardize the law is because they know that I'm just using this figurative people. If you're in the chat and you don't think that Trump, if you think Trump should show up for arraignment, then I am talking about you. So they take the law and they know they can bastardize it because your dumbass wouldn't do the same thing to them. That's the only reason why they would put up these fake charges against a former president. They did it against Bannon. They did it against J6ers. Why? Because they can interpret the law to use it against their political enemies. And then not only that, their political enemies would never do it back to them. That's why that's why she can say, that's why they can impeach Trump twice. That's why they could do a J6 hearing committee with no real opposition on it. But then obviously Republicans get in power and there's morals. We want to do this the right way, the slow way. And I'm saying that ain't the way. Yeah, they've pushed me there. It's at some point, if you are in an altercation and someone's doing something we are just in a fifth generational civil war. That's what we're in. And I can't have my morals be used against me while someone takes their boot and sticks it on my neck. It ain't happening. Can't happen. You will get wrecked. I didn't start this. I didn't start the conflict. I don't want the conflict. This is a defensive position. This is a defensive stance. You want to impeach Clarence Thomas? You know what? For AOC, here's what I didn't even think about this until now. AOC wants to impeach Clarence Thomas for I don't care what. And we're even beyond law. I don't even care if it's legitimate at this point. For AOC even bringing it up, I want to impeach Ketanji Brown Jackson. You know what? I didn't say that. I didn't say that until your dumbass brought it up in a immoral fashion on Clarence Thomas. So you know what? I want to impeach Ketanji Brown Jackson. That is what we need to do. If you want this thing to crumble, then let's have it crumble. If you want to play the game, then let's play the game. That's how this stops. It doesn't stop because no one will say, you want to get nuts? Well, then let's get nuts.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
That's the only way. Your morals and your foundation. My moral is not to get my ass beat. That's one of my morals. Their moral is we have to beat your ass now so we don't have to beat your ass later.
In order to prevent us from whooping your ass in the future, we have to whoop your ass right now. This is psychopathic behavior.
And somebody as pathetic as AOC, there's no response from Republicans saying, AOC, your bitch ass, you want to impeach Clarence Thomas? You know what? You done messed up. I want to impeach all these liberal justices, all of them. Let's line them up. Impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. Oh, okay. You changed your mind. Okay, I changed my mind too then. Why are we doing this? Why are we just taking this stuff? And then, of course, they'll try to use it against, saying, oh, you're the authority. No. You started up. You started something. Your mouth got you into something. And now you're in problems. The deal's been altered. Pray that it's not altered further.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
That's where we're at right now. Thanks for stopping by. A little bit of spice in the morning. Toy Mafia says, free media. Speaking of media, I had this interaction with somebody, and I'll set it out. It's going to take me a second to set it up. BuzzFeed News did this article that's I mean, I don't blame the person that I kind of had a back and forth with. I don't blame them. If this doesn't disorient you, I don't know what will. BuzzFeed has an article. What's in the article? The article says, this is what your worlds are lacking. Artists are using artificial intelligence. Actually, I used artificial intelligence to make the thumbnail for this video. These are tools, no different than taking a screwdriver and screwing in a screw, or a hammer to hammer in a nail. What does BuzzFeed say is proud of promoting for AI to be used? AI to be used. This is what your worlds are lacking. Artists are using AI to create fat, black, sci-fi, and fantasy characters. Let me try that again. This is what your worlds are lacking. Artists are using artificial intelligence to create fat, black, sci-fi characters. And my first thought is, if you don't know, sometimes people will run up in, a lot of times people will run up in my mentions with a raccoon emoji. And it's basically to say you're a fake black person in a way, is what it is. You're a traitor to your race is basically what they're trying to convey. And I said, if one of y'all come up in my mentions again with a raccoon emoji, while the Democratic Party supports this type of nonsense, I swear, I don't know what to do with y'all. Here's some of the AI. AI is one of the most powerful tools. People who know what AI is, they call it the new, basically, nuclear weapon of our time. It's what the CCP is using through TikTok. It's what our own government, the CIA group, is using through our own companies in Silicon Valley, from Google, YouTube, to Facebook, to Meta, to all these companies. All using AI, ChatGPT. I said I used AI to make this thumbnail. It's one of the most powerful tools out there. What does BuzzFeed promote that black people and other people use the tool for? When you're creating a project, make sure that you use AI to create fat, black, and ugly characters. I'm not joking. I didn't say this. They said it. I did not do this. Obviously that's ugly. But I didn't just volunteer that. I didn't just bring this up out of the blue. This is a real article. It's not a Babylon Bee or any type of satire. It's a real article. And these are AI created figures. So what somebody did was I use Midjourney. You go into Midjourney, it's through Discord. You type in, hey, what do you want? Somebody had to type in, I want a fat, black, and then the description of this picture right here. If you want a fat, black, gay character, ugly character, do you. It's very weird, though, for BuzzFeed, a $400 million per year revenue company, to be promoting it as if this is like a virtue for us to strive for. If you want fat, black, ugly, gay characters, do you. Keep that private, though. BuzzFeed, don't promote that to me. It's weird. It's beyond, it gets weirder. I mean, you don't believe me? Let me read you a clip of the article. There's this dude, Alex Smith, I guess he's doing independent kind of sci-fi work or whatever. Great, I love it. I'll check out some of your work. Well, as long as you don't promote as the forefront gay, black, ugly characters, I will check out your story. Even if you do that, if you got a good story, I'll still check it out. Alex Smith, I labeled him as a social justice warrior who said when black people are portrayed in film, they're usually attractive. And that's a bad thing. He's fighting for black people to be represented as gay, ugly, and fat in sci-fi. Here's a clip from the article. It says, but in general, this is Alex Smith, black characters aren't afforded the same prominence and screen time as their white counterparts. Okay, fine. If you want to do a black main character, I think it's overrepresented at this point, but okay, that's fine. This is the part that's weird. And when black people are present, they tend to be cis. This is a derogatory term. Cishet? So what he's saying is they tend to be assumed to be straight. And when black people are present in these films, they tend to be straight. and straight assumed, and conventionally attractive. And he's mad at that. He's mad that Angela Bassett, he's mad that Nia Long in Love Jones is attractive. He's mad at it. He's mad that Angela Bassett is a gilf. Why would you be mad at that? That's just so weird. And if you are, that's fine. Just keep that private. I don't need to know. If BuzzFeed goes to you with an article to say that you like when black people are promoted as ugly, that's what he's saying here. For you low IQ people who can't understand, he said when black people are present, they tend to be assumed to be straight and conventionally attractive. He wants them unconventionally attractive. That is a weird way, that is a university indoctrinated way of saying ugly. And then the article, to back up what I say, has some ugly ass black women as the headliners in the article. This is from the article. These pictures, I didn't make these pictures are from the article. I didn't do this. It's not my fault this time. I'm not accepting blame for this at all. I will accept blame for when I cross the line on other stuff. I will accept blame. I am accepting zero blame for this one. I don't make any money. I'm in my basement. That's a $400 million revenue per year company promoting this. And y'all come up in my mention with raccoon emojis. I think my take is I think there are better uses for AI. As a young child growing up in Greenville, North Carolina, artist Alex Smith spent a lot of his time engrossed in the world of cartoons and comics, devouring works like Battle of the Planets, X-Men, and Doom Patrol. Those are all comics that, you see how neo-Marxism works. Those are all comics and shows and works of art that we can rally around that's apolitical. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, black, white, whatever. But that's not good enough because that doesn't create a cultural divide. Alex Smith either Alex Smith understands that and wants it or doesn't. He was hooked. Sci-fi is kind of like my church, said Smith, who is now age 47, right along my age. I believe I'm 45. I forgot for a second. And living in Philadelphia. It's spiritual. And very much connected to who I am as a black queer person. So Alex themselves are queer. So if you want yourself represented, do you. Make a great story. I will read it. I will love it. I mean, the characters being black, queer, gay, ugly, whatever, is irrelevant. Lead with, I've got good stories to tell. Don't lead with your identity. The problem with his church, however, is that there isn't much black or queer representation. It just astonishes me that fat people in general are treated and depicted as second-class citizens in science fiction works, or they're made to represent something like greed, lust, villainy. I wonder why. Smith said, pointing to the character of Baron Vladimir Harkon in Dune, I used to do a queer sci-fi reading series called Laser Life, he added. And when I was on the hunt for guest readers, the very first story I received, and then he goes on to say, so when easily accessible AI art generators came along last year, Smith, already an established visual artist, adopted these tools to create several black, fat, and queer characters. This is a quote from the article, not me, from a more inclusive, futuristic world. And that's how you get Stacey Abrams on Star Trek and Lizzo on Star Wars. It's not for their talent. It's not because they bring something to the table. It's not because they make the story better. It's because they're what they are. They said it right there. Why do you get a fat, black, ugly April from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They spelled it out right there. It's not my conjecture anymore. It's progress. Wait until you see what progress really looks like. You have not seen progress until you've seen this. This is epic right here, man. I can't wait for the future. If this is progress now in 2023, wait to the future.
So stuffy. And so like work, punch the clock, get the degree. And then I'm like this 300 plus pound middle-aged black lady swimming around in a mermaid tail. And it's like, if she can do that, maybe I should take a salsa class after work.
I'm on my way to Mermagicon. Every year, hundreds of professional and amateur merfolk gather at this huge convention to meet and learn new skills. I met with this year's headliner, mermaid Shay Monique, to learn more about her passion and about the Society of Fat Mermaids she created.
Hello, come on in. This is my tale that I'm known for. I do take like a fair amount of pride in the fact that like I'm headlining this convention in a fabric tail. Because a lot of people think that like what makes you as a mermaid is how expensive your tail is and how fancy your tail is. It's not about the tail, it's about me. But I did bring a few of my favorite tops. This is a Finfolk Mythic top. I just love it because it's so shimmery and it makes this fun noise. So we all have what we call mersonas. And in my mind, Mermaid Shay Monique finds like shipwrecked jewelry and like other things lost at sea. I feel at peace and very free when I'm underwater. It's just so comfortable. It feels like where I belong. I know it seems like counterintuitive because I'm not like breathing, but in those moments in between those breaths for that period of time, there's just this fluid, calm, peaceful ease that just feels comfortable and at home. I have loved mermaids as long as I can remember. I was a water baby. I have no recollection of not being able to swim. When I was about 3 or 4, The Little Mermaid came out, and that's been one of my favorite movies ever since. And just that beautiful, colorful, magical underwater world was just everything to me. And I just literally wanted to be part of it. I started mermaiding fairly casually. A friend took a photo of me that went viral. And in that photo, people started commenting, basically saying they were crying, saying that like seeing me, fat, black, queer lady looking glamorous and beautiful made them realize that they too had this like beauty, strength, glamour, whatever. And I realized just by like me kind of daring to be, it encourages other people to do the same. Over time.
I appreciate you, and I want you to feel good about yourself. That's not, my goal is not to make you not feel good about yourself. I just don't want you to lead with it, okay? Other than putting down the five guys, I want you to lead with who you are as a person. And then put down the triple. If you get the triple at Wendy's, don't maybe make it a single. Start small. I'm being serious. Start small. Make that progress. That's a battle for me every day. You got to balance that out. I want you to live as long as possible, but don't lead. Don't lead with your roles. You're more than your roles. And when I mean roles, I'm talking about like the side of your body that shows when you wear those mermaid things. You're more than that. No different than if you are a skinny, conventionally attractive model. What's inside your head? People say AOC is attractive. I'm like, I don't see it. Maybe it's because what's in her head is just so damn ugly, I don't see it. So I don't care if you're fat, black, or whatever, or you're skinny, or whatever the hell you look like. You could be Amber Heard. Amber Heard, one of the most attractive women that I think we've seen. She's taking shits on people's beds. How do you like them apples? Who are you as a person? There's a reason why they use these identities, though. I'm going to end with Eric July. It's always good to give young Ripa the last word. We saw it with Black Lives Matter. They have the social credit score to leverage the dead bodies of black men. Who else can leverage the dead bodies of black men successfully? Queer black women. These ugly queer black women started Black Lives Matter, and they have the social credit to do it.
thing. You wonder why? Because it was never about Black lives. The moniker was nothing but a term to get you guys, you idiot motherfuckers. And I have to be harsh with my words because I want you to feel stupid so you don't do it again. I had been covering this but long when they first like got on the scene. I had been covering this stuff. Like, this is who y'all rallying behind? A bunch of like man-hating lesbians? What the fuck? that pop up every now and then when it's just to try to utilize some black man's life that maybe was unfortunately taken to try to push their own individual agenda. That's who you're rallying behind. Now this goes to another conversation that we can have about black community members and the fact that all the fucking leaders is a bunch of lesbian black women. That should have been a red flag for y'all, but hey, don't listen to me because of racism and self-hating. Like, no. You guys got conned. You got it what you fucking deserve, and hopefully you learn to actually pay attention and not only where your dollar's going, but stop falling for these fools and their terminology. They do that with virtually everything. They pass some or attempt to pass some idiotic bill that is named like the anti-lynching bill. Lynching has been fucking illegal for I don't know how long, especially at the federal level. And basically it's just pumped up with a bunch of nonsense because most voters are retarded, not like they read the damn bill. You see someone vote against this anti-lynching bill, which again, lynching has already been illegal. It's just a bunch of fluff to line up their cronies. They say, oh, well, you didn't support that, therefore you must be for lynching. You are arguing with literal retards, and this is why I've said before, I said it on You Are Here, I've said it on Blaze. Y'all look at this voting shit like it's a net positive. I am trying to get people's vote to matter less because I know I'm surrounded by fucking retards.
They use the bodies are still warm. You got George Floyd, his body's still warm. You got Jacob Blake, you got Rashard Brooks, you could just keep naming them off. All these black men, bodies still warm from tragic being unlived. And in comes the super identities to leverage it. What? So they can get a couple mansions and Brenda, let's go Brenda can be our president. The one that talked about black roaches crawling on his blonde hair on his legs. This stuff is so weird that if you don't know, you think I'm just making it up. Remember when Sharon Osbourne wanted her money back for Black Lives Matter? Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite clips. I think I have it here. Oh, this is one of my favorite clips. I got to relive this real quick.
West. Yeah, I have. The White Lives Matter. He's going on Fox News, and I talked to Tucker Carlson, apparently to sort of double down. Everyone wants to cancel him. What do you think?
I don't understand why white lives don't matter. I don't understand any of it. Everybody matters, don't they?
Sharon, catch up with the rest of us. Go back, listen to my channel. This isn't 2019 anymore. After the summer of love, things changed. I need you to stay with me. You're about 3 years behind. Now, of course, all lives should matter, but that's not where we are. So keep pace.
I mean, he said that Black Lives Matter is a scam.
Oh, well, we gave $900,000 to that. And I'd like my money back.
Yeah.
She gave $900,000. Sharon, this ain't Nordstrom.
I'd like my money back.
There's no customer service. You got.
West.
Yeah, I have.
The White Lives Matter. He's going on Fox News, and I talked to
Sharon Osbourne allegedly gave $900,000 to Black Lives Matter, and she's looking for the customer service number. It's over. You lost that money. It's gone. There is no customer service. They got it in that mansion. Remember when Candace Owens went up to the mansion and rang the doorbell and they acted like she had accosted somebody? That $900,000 went to the security guard that Candace Owens ran into. We say stuff like, George Soros has a lot. It seems like George Soros has a lot of impact on our politics. We say that stuff and then it's almost like every time it's fact checked, like, no, he doesn't. Not really. Then I see a headline this weekend, son of George Soros scoring easy White House access, records show. So if this is true, this is reported through the New York Post. It just makes me wonder. We just say, like, dang, it feels like Soros has a lot of pull, not just with the White House, but across the country. Oh, his son, a prolific Democratic fundraiser who likes to boast about his relationships with world leaders on social media. He has all these pictures with them. He scored at least a dozen meetings with the White House officials in 2022. This is on the record. Who knows what they're doing off the record? 40% of the time, he's in his own private residence, and we found out through the whole Hunter stuff, they don't have a log. At least at that time, they didn't have a log of who came through his private residence. So if you want to meet with Soros himself, you could, hypothetically, take your vacation back to your crib, and Soros could come through the crib, and nobody would know. Soros, 37, his son, also participated in two other confabs there in late 2021, the records show. You know who's never been to the White House, reportedly, through himself? Elon Musk. He's like, I've never been there. I never got invited, at least, by this administration. Later that evening, the younger Soros was one of 330 people who attended a lavish state dinner on the White House South Lawn, hosted by the President and First Lady Jill Biden, honoring French President Emmanuel Macron and Macron's wife. It's kind of funny. I saw a headline where Macron was like, we need to kind of separate from the U.S., the same country that we're protecting military with money through the proxy war of the sunflower country. We've never seen our foreign policy has never been worse in my lifetime. To find a worse foreign policy, you would have to probably go back to, I don't know, World War II. I can't think of a worse foreign policy where we're spending money in the sunflower country, Germany warming up to China, France warming up to China, Saudi Arabia. They basically called Brandon a bitch-ass nigga. They did the political version of calling him some random person we don't care about. After we're pumping all this money over there, it's almost as if somebody wants to take the country down on purpose. But yeah, Soros' son gets to frolic in the White House, and then you are anti-Sem if you say, damn, it kind of looks like Soros has a lot of influence around the country, throwing money all over the place. Soros also had meetings with Kimberly Lang, at the time, National Security Advisor Executive Assistant. Why is he meeting with national security advisors or secretary assistants? This is the person who's probably going to take on the legacy after Daddy Soros is gone. It's unclear what was discussed at the meetings, and the White House did not return messages. I'm sure what happens in the White House meeting with Alex Soros stays in the White House meeting with Alex Soros. I'm going to guess they probably don't want that out in the public. And then they call you the crazy one for saying something doesn't look right. What's the influence for asking the questions? Just simply asking the questions. What's going on? Something doesn't look right. I'm sure the memesters are very scared right now because Brandon looks like he's going to run for president again. I'm shocked, but we're here. They're going to prop Weekend at Bernie's up again one more time. Let's do the sequel. They just keep doing sequels until the movies don't make money anymore. Why stop now? Weekend of Bernie's part what? Where are we at? Part 2 now? Biden will lean on an army of social media influencers, which may get their own briefing room at the White House, according to Axios. I'm sure there's no First Amendment problems with that at all. And I'm also sure the memesters are shaking in their boots. I just at some of the ones that are on the top of my mind. There's too many to name, so I hate that I left out some prominent ones. But Ramble Rants, C3P Meme, friend of the show, Maze, I Am Meme, The Second Amendment, Miguel Lafornia, who's one of my new favorite that I follow. Man, he's good. They're all great. But they replied to my, basically they're combating the memes. They don't use memes because they're not funny enough. There's no truth to what their side is, believes, so you can't really use memes. Hard to use humor. But they are effective. I will give you that. C3P Meme says, bring it. Aaron Ring says, fresh meat. Mags says Meatball knows memers well. Mags, I wasn't even bringing Meatball into this, and then the memesters are so on Meatball. Meatball knows memesters well. Soon these influencers will learn the power of meme magic. Memesters are salivating at the opportunity to go against these social media. Who are they going against? Brooklyn Dad? Memesters, this is going to be a tough battle. The algorithm is against you. Social credit is against you. Even Elon Musk, he loves memes, but he is definitely, he's anti-radical type of, he's more of a DeSantis dude than a Trump dude. Let's just say that. You've got all that. Memesters, here's what you've got to go against. They've got some really big heavy hitters out here, and they're very powerful on the left. The meme on the left. What are you guys talking about?
Than a ventilator, 'cause
this is what they meme on the left.
it's much better than a ventilator, 'cause breathing is a pretty good habit. That COVID is dangerous. Go get your vaccine now. Eric and Junior, Ivanka and Jared, Kaylee and Rudy, Melania, Bannon. I'm screaming.
This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one right here. Let's bring it back. This is my one. This is what the memesters have to go up against.
Rudy, Melania, Bannon. I'm screaming at a white supremacist.
Are you guys going to be able to go up against those heavy hitters? I said, even with illegal government influence boosting in the algorithm, there's not enough truth and substance for them to go heads up with the populist memesters. DeSantis is finding that out right now. And I think it's a very serious thing. Axios, which they do great work. Axios is right up there with Politico to me. Biden's digital strategy and the army of influencers. It's a smart strategy. According to this report, Biden's not yet official bid for re-election will lean on hundreds of social media influencers who will tout Biden's record and soon may have their own briefing room at the White House. The move aims to boost Biden's nominee in 2024. Some of the influencers working with the Biden White House, including Harry Sisson. He's more of a straightforward news political guy, but TikTok broke through. These are the people that they want to reach, because the people that Harry Sisson reaches, MSNBC doesn't reach, CBS doesn't reach. So they got to reach them through there. It's a smart strategy. Harry Cox Richardson, they've got huge followings on Substack, TikTok. This is something to be looked at. And they've got the boost, they got the algorithm. Biden's digital strategy team will connect with influencers across the nation to target those who may not follow the White House or Democratic Party on social media. That would be everybody. Nobody follows them. Even if people follow them, nobody listens to them. Nobody cares about them. So they have to do this through outreach, through social media. Totalitarian governments use it all the time, and it's a tactic that you got to use. They are pressuring social media influencers beyond. So a lot of this, they are targeting social media influencers who are in the political realm. But when you do this through the state-sponsored religion, which is woke, my definition of woke, I know it's a word that people are tired of. I'm not tired of it. My definition is when you let an authority outside of God define your morality. So they are so this is what is happening. They are giving a not so subtle hint to advertisers, to social media companies, to YouTube, to Google, to everyone, to mainstream media, that if you don't agree with our narrative, you are against us, and you will feel this wrath. You will feel the pain of our power if you disagree with us. How does that show itself out? There doesn't need to be secret covert meetings in the White House with Alex Soros. All they have to do is gather up the best of the best. These are talented social media influencers who organically would have their own opinions, but you want to grab them up. Same thing they did with the talented 10th and black people. Gather up the most talented of the group and have them spit a certain narrative, that sends a message to everyone that you must obey, you must agree, regardless of your bottom line. And what it looks like is Amazon does an ad with, I don't know what it is. It looks like a biological girl with a mustache, which is attacking traditional views of gender and Western culture. It's a beautiful ad. It's done so well. If it weren't so evil, I would give them a lot of credit. Done so well, I guarantee you my parents would have no idea what they just did right in front of your eyes. So you say, oh, what's the problem with bringing up certain social media influencers and bringing them to the White House and having them get their own office in the White House? What it is you're establishing out in the open a state-sponsored religion. They're not bringing in conservative. They're not bringing in MAGA. They're bringing in people that will have to agree with their worldview, sending the message to all these companies. This is Amazon. This ad here starts out with a young, I think it's a biological girl. We are in post-truth. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I don't know. That's the point. So you start off with what I think is a biological girl on the bed looking at herself, and she's got a little mustache look going. She's got her little Dylan Mulvaney going on. She's got her Jeffrey Marsh going on right now. And she looks kind of, upset because with traditional Western cultures, just like Alex Smith in that last segment I did talking about fat, black, and ugly, that's what he was talking about when he said, the black people I've seen in these films are conventionally attractive, meaning they're women that don't have 5 o'clock shadows. That's what he means. So you come and you have a biological girl, and with that happens, I don't know what women do to that, but take care of it. Ain't nothing wrong with saying that. I don't know what it is. If I had a daughter, luckily I don't have a daughter. I don't know anything about women's hygiene. I got 2 brothers. My mom did her thing on her own. I never grew up. I don't know anything about women's hygiene. So I don't know what to say other than you're beautiful. Take care of it. You'll be fine. That's what I would say. I don't know. I would have to lean on my wife. Shave it. I don't know. I don't know what y'all do, but shave it. Do something. Get rid of it. So she starts out with a mustache. She looks awkward. Then she goes, look at Eddie Murphy with a mustache. She's a woman. Why is she looking at Eddie Murphy for how he looks? You're a beautiful young lady. Why are you looking at Eddie Murphy? I should be looking at Eddie Murphy. He's a skin color like mine. I'm just saying, I'm more close to Eddie Murphy, a man. We're both men. Why would she be looking at Eddie Murphy for beauty with a mustache? So you want a mustache like Eddie Murphy and Coming to America? So they're showing more mustache, Freddie Mercury, and then, she's dressed non-binary-ish or whatever. I don't know what she's dressed like. So you take something beautiful like Tucker Carlson said, and she's got a dope out. The jacket is fly. The shoes are fly. You see how smart the ad is. The music is dope. It's a dope. I think that's Queen. Great song. And so right in front of your eyes, they promote it like, and then she turns and smiles with the 5 o'clock shadow. Jeez. And then you use the term grooming. It's like, you look at it, it's like, she's young. How old is she? Like 16, 17? Isn't that grooming? And then now you're the bigot for saying, like, damn, aren't you trying to groom kids? I don't know. We could also do an ad and say, take care of that with a razor. Jeremy's razor, can you do an ad for this one and say, just, I don't know, put some zip, zip, zip. I don't know how you do it, because when you start shaving, then it comes in, at least with men, like when boys start shaving, when you shave, it comes in quicker and more prominent, because your body wants the hair for the natural, instinctual, generational purposes. I'm not, if you want to rock the mustache, that's fine, but it's weird for a company like Amazon to be promoting it like this is something, this is a virtue. That's what happens. So Biden brings in the influencers. He would never bring in an influencer that had disagreed with that. Amazon could, if it's just about love, then Amazon could do an exact ad and say, we're going to do both ads. That would still be overrepresentation if you did it 50-50, but they could bring in an ad with they could use the same actress there and say this time she shaved it and she looked like a beautiful young girl with more feminine look. Then I'd be like, okay, you got balance on both sides at least. Obviously, that's not the route that they want to take. The era of influencers being apolitical online is over. This came out in the summer of love, in the fall of love. You can't be apolitical. That's when at your job, probably at many major companies, it was no longer, hey, we kind of keep our politics to ourselves. It was like, your politics are perfectly fine as long as they are on that side. If they're not on that side, then we wish you the best. Here's a boot. Here's a boot, and we wish you the best. It doesn't take an expert to see the problem with the government stepping into the town square, TikTok, Twitter, all these are the town squares, and choosing winners and losers based on voicing allegiance to their opinion. This is dark stuff. Good ideas don't need to be propped up through illegal coercion. Rife House is briefing TikTok stars on the sunflower country. And they're only giving them one narrative. There's no testing that narrative. So they can reach people in a much better way. This is how the doctrine of woke is forced on the people. The government is making a demand. It's not so subtle. And if you want to know, I'll end with this. You want to know why we're heading towards civil conflict? It's because of that. You have civil conflict because the First Amendment is being completely bastardized and twisted into one side gets to do whatever they want. The other side is suppressed. You don't get the algorithm. You don't get the White House visits. Same would apply. I don't care if Trump did it. Trump censored, was it Chrissy Teigen? Trump wanted to censor Chrissy Teigen, I believe, because she called him some fat, ugly bitch or something like that. That's impeachable. The reason why I don't talk about it as much is, I mean, the laptop story or that? Which one's bigger? Who has the power to actually make that stuff happen? With Trump, they said, "Nah, we ain't gonna do it." With Brandon, they did it. They got that job done. So I can't give both equal light in the media. And I just started a live by saying I'm done with all that. Until y'all make some concessions, it's straight up offense. I want Ketanji Brown Jackson impeached now. You go back on the channel a few years. I even chatted with Carlos, friend of the show. Patriot, he was in the chat, Patriots of American Republic. I even chatted with him. I was like, nah, you shouldn't impeach Biden. Carlos is like, what happened? I chatted with you. Carlos is probably like, I texted you like 2 days ago. What happened, bro? They radicalized me. That's why. Impeach them all. I'm fine with it. I want every liberal justice impeached. If AOC wants to start, if you want to start bumping your gums about impeaching Clarence Thomas, let's do it then. We're in that post-civility era. Because that's the only way that they're going to stop. They're not going to stop unless you go back. So if Trump wants to bring CP3 meme into the White House, I'm all for it. If you stop, then I'll stop it. Should that be happening? No. Is it unconstitutional? Yeah. But how cool would that be to see Mays in the White House? And Trump got in. Well, imagine Trump got in the White House, and then you got Mays, you got Ramble Rants in the White House. They got their own office in the White House. That'd be so dope. That'd be lit. Trump. That's it. Trump should come out and say, if Brandon's gonna do this, then I'm gonna do this. He should come out right now and say, I've got the memester army on my side right now. They got an office in my war room. Let's get it. That would be lit. It's a fifth generational civil war. They're the special teams. I don't even know what to call them. They're not they're like the Navy SEALs of this thing. Maybe they're the generals. Oh man, I want to see that. That's some good stuff, man. If you got to start fighting apples with apples. And then I think that will help us get that national divorce, because I think the other side would be more motivated to do it. There was a little Spice in the morning, Spice 30. Thanks for stopping by. This is great to see. Steve Johnson says that Eric July is on with Viva and Barnes this week. I will be there. 3 of my favorite commentators. Let's see what's going on in the news. I'll be back in touch with everybody. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Peace.